Good morning, grade 6. How are you, dears? I hope you're doing well. Today's lesson will be about punctuation. Well, as you remember, we took a lot of punctuations before, like period, exclamation mark, question mark, and all of the others punctuation. But today we will be getting to know new punctuation. The first one is the semicolon. Number 2, colon. Number 3, dash. Number 4, hyphen. And number 5 is parentheses. Today we'll learn how to use all of them and when to use them. For a starter, we will start with the semicolon. The semicolon can be used to separate the two parts of a compound sentence when they are not joined by a comma and a conjunction. For example, Southern migrated to the north. They often took the train. So here, since they didn't put a comma, we use the semicolon. And as you can see, we separated two parts of a compound sentence. Another case we can use a semicolon is to separate items in a series if commas are already used in the series. For example, the soccer team included Adam Hoyt, sophomore, then semicolon, Matthew Thomas, senior, then a semicolon, and Joshua Jones, junior. So here, since sophomore is referring to Adam Hoyt and we used a comma in between, here we use a semicolon to separate between the series here, okay, the team of the soccer. Colon. Colon is used after the salutation in business letter and to separate the hours and minutes in expressions of time. For example, when you want to salute someone in a letter, you say, "Dear Mrs. Smith." Here, since I start to salute someone, to say hi to someone in a letter, I put a colon after the person's name. And to separate the hour, 10, 30. As you can see, 10 is the hour, 30 is the minutes. To separate them, I use a colon. Another use of colon is to introduce a list of set speakers' name in a play. Okay, so the first use is to introduce a list, and the second one is to set off a speaker's name in a play. For example, I did the following course, which were wax the car, clean my room, and sweep the porch. So here, I gave you the list of something that I did, so I used a colon before introducing the things that I did. And number 2, to set off a speaker's name in a play. So like a dialogue, if you have a dialogue, after the name we use colon. Sandy, colon, hello there. Now moving to the dash. Dash sets off information that interrupts the flow of a sentence. So if there was like an extra information that interrupts the flowing of a sentence, and you think it's like an extra information, you can get rid of it, then we need to use the dash in between it. For example, Southerners, they included my relatives, suffered in the winter weather. So as you can see, they included my relatives is an extra. I can get rid of this. I can say Southerners suffered in the winter weather. I didn't need to use they included my relatives. So since here it interrupts the sentence flow, we needed to use the dashes. Hyphen. Hyphen is used in certain compound words, such as a compound adjective before nouns or spelled out numbers and some two-word nouns. For example, in a compound adjective like well dressed. Well dressed. Here I actually used two adjectives and it's a compound word, but they are compound adjectives. So to separate them, I put a hyphen. And in number 2, we said in a spelled out numbers, like 54 students. So here, because I wanted to spell out the number, I needed to put hyphen between 50 and 4. And the last case is some two-word nouns. Make, believe. Make, believe. Self-esteem. I use the hyphens here because it's a two-word noun. Parentheses. Parentheses set of additional information that is not essential. Just like the dash, since the dash actually we put it when there is like an interrupting in the sentence, we put the two dashes. In the parentheses, it's kind of the same. We put the parentheses between the additional information that is not necessary in the sentence. The documentary will air on television next month. Check your local listing. So here, the sentence, as you can see, is completed. The documentary will air on television next month. But there is like an extra information and it's not really necessary in the sentence. I put it in parentheses. Check your local listings. Again, another use to enclose numbers or letters within a sentence. For example, she made a list of things to buy. A, toothbrush. B, clothes. C, books. So here, because I'm using letters to do a list inside of a sentence, I put them between parentheses. The same case goes to the numbers. If I put like 1, toothbrush, and then number 2, clothes, number 3, books, it's going to be the same. Now I want you to open your Reader's Writer's Notebook on page 432. Now here, we need to fix the sentences and add the punctuation in the right place. In number 1, we visited the following state: Georgia, Alabama, and Tennessee. So here, because I want to separate, I use the colon. Okay? And number 2, the play begins at 8 p.m. See theater notes for more information. So here I put the colon because to separate the hour from the minutes. And I use the parentheses because it's an extra information. Number 3, our neighbors were Mr. Jones, a printer, Mr. Smith, a blacksmith, and Mr. Heath, a butcher. So since there is the name and what they are doing or what was their job, you have a comma between the name and the occupation or the job. So after that, before mentioning the next name, we need to put the semicolon. Number 4, the Thomases lived in a crowded apartment, semicolon. They shared it with another family. So here, because I wanted to separate the compound sentence. Number 5, being a free man. How he loved the sound of that. was a boost to his self-esteem. As you can see in how he loved the sound of that, it was like something that interrupted the flow of the sentence. That's why I put the dashes. And there is like a hyphen between self and esteem. Number 6, Emily. Then where did they go? John, they went to Chicago. So here, as you can see, after the names in the play, Emily and John, I put the colons because they are names in play. Thank you very much, my girls. Kindly do page 439 in your Reader's Writer's Notebook. Stay safe till we meet again.